Seafan Sports Seahawks Weekly starts now. Evan, this week we're going to be discussing which one of these three scenarios starts behind center for the Seattle Seahawks week one. Is it going to be an existing quarterback we have on the roster, make that Geno Smith, Drew Lock? Is it going to be a trade, Baker Mayfield, Gardner Minshew? Or is it going to be a rookie, Matt Corral, Desmond Ridder? One of those three scenarios is what's going to start for us week one behind the center for your Seattle Seahawks. As well, on this week's episode of Seahawks Weekly, we're going to break down who we think that Seattle's going to take with the number 72 pick, the third round. Woo! Man, tell you what, out of breath, ready to rock and roll. So, Kevin, in your professional opinion, who do you think of those three scenarios is going to line up replacing Mr. Russell Wilson himself week one for your Seattle Seahawks?
Well, I'm the furthest from professional on this stuff, but as far as my fandom appreciation to the Seahawks, I really think they're going to go with Drew. They're going to give Drew every opportunity he possibly can get. I know they just signed Geno to an incentive-laden contract of way more money than I would have paid him. But that's besides the point. I wouldn't even have paid him $10, let alone that much.
Hold on before you go on. Let me ask you this, Kevin. No, I understand you do have a dislike for Geno, but he does know the offense. You bring in a quarterback that knows the offense, is able to sit down, be able to help Drew through this process.
Yep.
He's been in how long has he been in our system? What, 4 years, 5 years now? And he was behind Russell.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years. I think this is the fourth year, start of the fourth year.
Just that alone, I think, makes it worth the investment. And I know there's a lot of people that are boo-hooing this signing. But I think that giving somebody putting somebody in Drew's ear is going to help him.
Yes, I agree with that. And I don't have anything as far as Geno being our backup. I just do not want him starting. So, I think, I don't think we're going to go after Baker Mayfield and pay him $18 million a year. They'd have to eat all of the contract for Seattle to take him.
Well, let's say they do that, Kevin. Let's say that they eat $12 million of that contract. Is he interesting to you then?
I think it's a toss-up between him and Drew at that point, yeah.
How about trading off some assets for Gardner Minshew? Don't you think that would be something that would be interesting?
No, I don't think so. I think there's guys in the draft that they possibly like. They always seem to like somebody from, the Senior Bowl and see, there's got to be somebody they're looking at. I wouldn't be shocked if they did pick somebody like a Matt Corral in the second round, and I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't pick a quarterback at all. So,
One of the things that I'm hearing out of these two quarterbacks, Matt Corral and Desmond Ridder, specifically, is they have aspects of Russell's game in them. And I think that they're point guards, and they're going to be able to distribute the ball. I think the guy, to me, that sounds the most intriguing, just because of how fast he releases the ball, is Matt Corral. Yeah. We have seen he is supposed to have one of the fastest releases in the college game, and even his NFL counterparts, Kevin, he has a faster release than. So I really see some upside with going with a Matt Corral. If we got him at 40 or 41, I would be completely okay with that. And I tell you what, it would not break my heart either if they completely did not address the quarterback situation this year. Gave Drew Lock a year to see if there's anything there. And if there's not, at that point, we will have a high enough draft pick next year that we'll be able to go after some of the big names that are supposed to be in next year's draft. And I'm okay with that situation.
I don't see Seattle ever picking a quarterback in the first round, ever.
I think if next year's draft, they will. I guarantee it.
I'm not buying it. I don't think they're going to put that much weight in somebody. Look, they got Russell in the third round.
Okay, that was a once in a lifetime thing. That's like that. That's like,
come on. Tom Brady was picked in the 7th round or 6th round. I mean, come on. There are gems in the draft, and I think between John and Pete, they can find them. And they're going to find their guy that they like that fits their system. They don't need a first-round pick on a quarterback. So all these mock drafts that, I just don't see it happening. And
okay,
that's
Kevin,
just my
I'm going to
opinion.
see your argument, and I agree with you. You could find it. Bill Belichick went after Mac Jones last year, and guess what round they signed him out of?
In the first round, yeah.
Okay, and they picked up, probably the best quarterback of all times, Tom Brady, in the 6th round.
Mm-hmm.
So they figured that if they were going to get an impact quarterback the next year, they were going to have to do it in the 1st round. So to me, that argument, I'm not buying that. So, but we could choose to agree to disagree on this one, Kevin. I think that next year, if Drew Lock does not ball out this year, that you will see Seattle address that position in the 1st round, and Kevin does not. You know what, guys? If you agree with Kevin, drop it down below. If you agree with me, that's as well. So, Kevin, let's go ahead and move on to the 72nd pick so far. You and I have picked the 1st round. We picked the 2nd round. And we're going to move on to the 72nd pick in the 3rd round. Now, guys, if you guys like our draft coverage, and if you notice, we're on a new platform. And we're pretty excited about it because we're going to go live for the NFL draft. Okay, Kevin and I are going to go live on day 1. And then on day 2, it may just be me. It may be me and another guest. I don't know yet. Things are up in the air. Kevin's daughter's birthday party's that night, so he can't join me. So look for us on YouTube. We may be on TikTok. I'm not exactly sure, but we're going to be on a couple different streaming platforms because we want to be able to cover this draft from front to back. I'm very excited about it. I love the draft every year, and I'm just digging this platform and making sure that I get my voice out there as well. So, with that being said, Kevin, ding, 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 ding. I don't have the fancy thing today, but the 72nd pick for your Seattle Seahawks, Kevin, where are you going?
Well, I've seen all kinds of stuff all over the place, and I know I was reading Mel Kiper's and his last mock, and he's got a guy named Amari Barno. And boy, he looked really, really good. And he's an edge rusher, and I thought he is solid. 6'4", 239. Kind of reminds me a little bit of a couple other guys that we've had or that we've signed. Little under weight-wise, a little under Darrell Taylor, but he looked really, really impressive. But I didn't go that route. There's a guy that just reminds me of somebody else we had for many years, part of the Legion of Boom. This guy, he's a cornerback, Tariq Woolen from the University of Texas, San Antonio. So small school.
That's a big school.
Yeah. Although he's 6'4", 205 pounds. Former wide receiver. Who's he sound like? He ran a 4.26 40.
Okay.
42-inch vertical. There was a guy on the Seahawks by the name of Richard Sherman.
I've heard of him.
6'3", 195, used to be a wide receiver. He ran a 4.43 40, and he had a 38 vertical. So this kid is even more impressive than Richard Sherman's stats coming out of college. He is a long strider with exceptional speed. He has great awareness and has total vision in the zone schemes downfield. Being a receiver, he has extreme patience when the ball is in the air. I really, really like this guy. He had in 9 games last year, he had 25 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, 1 interception, and 5 pass blocks. And I kept watching this guy on tape, and boy, he just knows where the ball is and where his hands need to be to knock the ball down, to tackle. He's not afraid to tackle. I mean, he was coming off the blitz and just, oh my gosh, he was unbelievable. And when the ball carrier, running back came out of the backfield, he was not afraid to leave his guy and take this guy out.
Stuck his nose right in there. Nice.
Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty excited. That's my pick, Tariq Woolen.
All right. Well, Kevin's made his pick. I'm going to go with an outside linebacker defensive end hybrid out of the University of Oklahoma. Now, if you know me, or even if you don't, let me tell you something. I hate just about everything to do with the Oklahoma. But
yes,
this kid here is a pretty it pains me to even say Oklahoma. Anyway, so it's Nick Bonita, defensive end, outside linebacker. This kid is 6'3", 248 pounds, 4.5 40-yard dash. His greatest strength is the bend and the jump off the ball. This kid can get around the corner in a hurry. I hate to say this, but if we have Darrell Taylor on one side and this kid on the other side, oh man, I tell you, then they can race to see who gets to the quarterback. However, this kid is light, so he does get swallowed up in the run game. So he is a liability. He could be a pass rush specialist, especially if we move to those more concepts of the 3-4 concepts where we have all four linebackers out there. On pass situations, I think this kid is could be a difference maker. And that's the type of player that I see them going after is somebody that they could pair up with Darrell Taylor to make a tandem out there that's just going to cause mayhem and drive the other quarterbacks in this league or in the NFC West crazy. This kid had 39 tackles last year, 7 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 1 fumble recovery. I was pretty impressed. I watched the tape on this kid. He has a absolutely burst of speed at the initial hike of the ball. So, again, Darrell Taylor on one side, Nick Bonita on the other. I'm taking that deal all day long. All right, Kevin. Anything else you have as far as the draft coming up?
No, I watched some tape on Nick, and I'm really impressed by this young man, too. And I was really, really – I went through probably 15 players today trying to figure out who I want in the third round. Because I think once you get into the second to fifth rounds, that is where our bread and butter is, and that's where we are always hitting the targets. So I really want to know who's available, who's not. And Nick was on that board, and he looked really, really good. So
yeah, I'm excited. We say that all the time. I want to see what we get out of this year's draft. This is probably the most pivotal draft I could think of for the Seattle Seahawks in a long time. Last year, you and I were talking about it. We only had the 3 draft picks, and it was not fun. And this year, we get to come back. We get to have a lot more fun. So, with that being said, Kevin, what I want to make sure again, we will go live for the draft coming up on April 28th. It will also be our 1-year mark on YouTube. So you guys will be able to drop questions, send questions to Kevin and I. We'll try to answer them real time along with being into the draft as well. He's shaking his head. I want to hear him. And we want to make sure that you guys get all of the information from us that we can possibly muster up. We'll do our very best because that's what Kevin and I do. So we'll at least be through pick 9 unless we get a trade down, and then we'll stay till the end of that. And then the following day, we'll be there. I'll be there for the second and the third round. So make sure that you guys are subscribed. If you're new here, turn on your notification bells. Leave thumbs up, thumbs down. Make sure that you guys are dropping comments. Tell us who you like in the third round. Last week we had 1 comment. Man, I'll tell you what, you guys have been slacking. I hate to say that to you. But you know what, Kevin? Before we go, we got 2 words for them. What are they?
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. Peace out, guy.